All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace up the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real. We got some cool people. I don't know these people. I don't know Adam. I don't know Sean. Never seen him before. How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Good, man. So, a lot of stuff to recap. That was a pretty good Super Bowl. I enjoyed it. How'd you guys feel about it?
I have no complaints. I mean, I thought it was everything everybody thought it would be. A close game, pretty much one possession game throughout the entire game. Very little penalties except towards the end of the game. So I thought it was a great Super Bowl, one of the better ones we've seen in the last couple of years. Way better than the last time the Rams were in a Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah. They scored a touchdown this time.
Yeah, it was definitely better than last year's Super Bowl too. People have been complaining about the whole the face mask call that T. Higgins didn't get against Ramsey, where he grabbed the face mask, and people were complaining about how Logan Wilson got called for pass interference on Cooper Kupp. It is what it is. It's the name of the game. Should have been a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty, doesn't matter. It is what it is, and they called a very good game, in my opinion. They let them play for a good majority of the game.
I have to agree. I think obviously that penalty being towards the end of the game on actually the last possession, Eli Apple's penalty was 100%. The Logan Wilson one was a little dicey, but I mean, I can see it being. I've seen less being called, and I've seen that not being called multiple times. And like I think
the biggest issue was they weren't calling that for most of the playoffs either. Like right. if a DB did that, that wouldn't have been called.
Right.
But it is what it is. I mean, they both played their hearts out. So Logan Wilson's a phenomenal linebacker, and he went up against one of the best wide receiver this year, and it happens.
I think the only thing I would say about it is they didn't call things early when they should have, and then they wanted to call it late. I think it should have been the opposite. I think late in the game, you got to let things play out the way they're going to play out. Early on, calling by throwing that flag.
Ramsey, he got away with 2 holding calls, like very blatant too. So every team gets away with calls. If you're going to nitpick, then nitpick the whole game, not just 1 or 2 possessions.
I can wholeheartly say now I was rooting for the Rams. I may be a little biased, but I can say that I thought the game was called pretty fair. I don't think that's the reason that the Rams won. Obviously, the likely reason that the Rams won is what everybody expected it to be, and it was the defensive line against the Bengals offensive line is what it boiled down to, especially in the second half. What they have, I think it's 6 sacks in the second half. And
I think they had 8 altogether.
Multiple more pressures. I think it said Burrow was pressured 11 out of his 22 dropbacks in the second half. With 50% pressures on your dropbacks is just absolutely insane.
Yep.
So, I mean, in the end, Bengals had a chance, and Aaron Donald made a play. I mean, that's what he does. He's the best defensive player in the league for the last couple of years. So, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
So, looking at the outcome, going into the offseason, Sean, you'd be the GM of the Rams. Adam, you'd be the GM of the Bengals. What do you guys do to make sure you get back next year? Sean, go first.
With the Rams, I mean, they don't have any draft picks, so they were pretty much all in this year. That's the thing and they won. So they did what they sought out to do. Help me with this. Is Von Miller? Was he just like a half-year rental, or is he?
It was a 1-year deal. They have the money that they could sign him, but I don't think it's smart.
So I guess what the Rams have to do is pretty much just do the best they can to keep their core that they have. I mean, they obviously proved they can do it. They have their coach still coming back. Obviously, they have Matt Stafford. Now, the thing that's going to be scary is seeing what Aaron Donald does because. Who was it? Was it Rodney Harrison? I believe it was. had said before the game that he talked to Aaron Donald and he said it's possible he retired after his body. Everybody's seen the guy. You've seen what he looks like. I mean, you can tell he trains all year, and he wants to hang out with his family. So, go out on top of the game. I do believe he's only 30, so I'm hoping he returns. I enjoy watching him play, but as long as they can return some of that defensive line, their offensive line. I mean, obviously Cam Akers will be back and fully healthy. Cooper Kupp's back. I don't know what's going to happen with Odell. He's probably going to miss some of the season. I'm assuming he'll be on a different team. But you get Robert Woods back. Van Jefferson's okay. So I think the Rams have some pieces where they can make another run as long as they can keep their guys in place. And they have Stafford and McVay and Akers and some players on defense to keep in place. So the Rams should be okay. I mean, I'm not going to say I expect them to win the Super Bowl again next year, but I think that they have a shot. They have a fair shot as anybody else in the NFC right now.
Yeah, for sure.
They have to replace Von Miller. Odell Beckham. Sonny Michel's also a free agent. Darius Williams is also a free agent. As it stands right now, they're 14.5 over the cap without those guys. So I don't think bringing Von Miller or Odell Beckham back is a real strong possibility.
Is that with the cap inflating?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to have to do some restructuring. I mean, or do some cuts. There's probably some old guys. Who knows if Whitworth will be back? I know he may retire. He's pretty old.
I would expect him to retire. He's looking old.
He's like 7.
I mean, he held his own for sure. He definitely held his own.
He's a beast.
He is.
That would save them about $16 million cap.
Right. So, I mean, that's probably a likely thing that'll put them right out of negative cap and some $2 million. And then I'm sure there's some other things. It's not like the same situation. There's probably some things they can play with.
Now the issue is when he retires, who replaces him? Because he's a corner piece for that offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, I would say you can get somebody in the draft, but they don't have any. So
no, they don't. They'd have to try to get somebody on like someone who wants like maybe from the Saints. Saints need big time help, and they can use the cap space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if they can get something from the Saints, anything's better than nothing.
I don't know if they can do like a back-ended contract, but I don't know if Orlando Brown's going to return to the Chiefs. I've been hearing. So maybe if they could bring in somebody like him, but obviously most teams would want a left tackle like that. So you're going to be bidding against probably the Bengals, who could use one. So yeah, I mean it's going to be exciting.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it.
I know that the NFL contracts have a little bit of wiggle room. So if you if you trade somebody, you can actually ask the team that is trading the player to pay for some of the salary from the previous year. That way it's not hurting your cap as much. It's happened a few times. It might be hard to get people to do it right now. With COVID, we had the salary cap at a certain level, and then we brought it down.
Right.
First time in forever. So it's really got teams tight. I mean, I know the Saints are 76 mil over right now.
They have nothing going for them.
Yeah, they're going to have to cut some really expensive, really good guys like Cam Jordan, Michael Thomas.
Kamara.
Those guys are going to go. Kamara will probably be out anyway with his legal issue.
He's going to jail.
But, looking at the Rams' salary issues, it's not the worst that I've seen. But for a team that has some stars that they are going to lose, I mean, Von Miller did contribute a good bit throughout the season. Leonard Floyd is a guy that has a very high price tag, and I don't know that he always earns that every down like Von Miller did. So there might be a discussion of who do we really want to keep.
Yeah.
What about the Bengals? What do you see in there?
Well, obviously, I think the whole world saw their offensive line needs a whole redo. Like, that line is awful. Mind you, Joe Burrow has been killing it when he was pressured, but last Sunday was not the game for that. When you're going against the best defense in the league and the best defensive player, as well as the best cornerback, you can't really be pressured the whole game, especially the second half, like you mentioned earlier, and expect to come out on top. That being said, they don't really have much to work with either. They have the 31st pick, and then they basically have the to stock picks after that. Personally, if I'm them, I'm gonna look to trade Mixon, because he's gonna want big money, and honestly, he's not. He's in his 5th year, or is he? I think he's in his 5th.
So, yeah,
This is his 5th year, so he's gonna want more money, and either you try to trade him before his contract extension is due, or a new contract, or you let him go. Because honestly, I mean, he was the focal point of the reason why they got to where they were. Like, he's been a beast in the playoffs, but he's been, aside from this year, few and far in between on the field with injuries and with just lack of being able to produce. Now, their wide receiver core is absolutely phenomenal. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are ridiculously good pairs, and Tyler Boyd, he's not the best, but he's a really good wide receiver 3, in my opinion. I do think they could try to. Their defense is fine. I think they did pretty well up against the Rams offense on Sunday, neck and neck with each other. So I'd probably just try to get Joe Mixon out while I can before he's asking too much money. Usually when that second contract comes, they start to decline anyway.
I
So
do
get as
believe
much
they
as you
have,
can.
Sorry, I do believe they have like $40 million in cap space though.
Yeah, they have the cap space.
57.
They have to sign Jesse Bates. I mean, I'm
Yep.
assuming they'll have to bring him back. He's the best player.
Yeah,
on their team.
he was definitely huge on Sunday.
Yeah.
Finally came through. Like, his whole season's been up and down, but this he played. The Bengals all around are a pretty solid team. I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase connection is unfathomable. Like 3 years in LSU? But I think Jamar Chase only played 2 of those.
Yeah, he sat out the last year.
Yeah, he
only
sat out
played
the last year.
year.
So I think their offense is fine. Their defense is pretty good. Logan Wilson's amazing. Hendricks is phenomenal. I think they just need to work on the offensive line. That's really all they need, in my opinion. That, and maybe a little bit more of a fresh running game.
They have $57 million in space available, but here's the issue: free agents pending. C.J. Uzoma, who was a pretty good part there in the playoffs. Both big time corners they have. You can probably let Hargraves go. He's not an every down guy.
And he got a 15-yard penalty. Wasn't that him that got the 15-yard penalty on the jumping in the end zone with him?
Eli Apple's a free agent, and he's played well enough that he was on a $1.2 million deal. He'll probably ask for 5 now, 5 or 6, just because he played 87% of their snaps. Ethan Bates, like you said, he's going to look for 4 to 5 mil at least. So they're going to eat up that cap space. What I see is they have 3 more years of cheap Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Then they're going to have to pay that man probably close to Patrick Mahomes money. And that's when the team's going to fall off, because you're seeing it with the Chiefs. This year is going to be bad for them.
Yep.
I know power rankings are number 1, but they're about to have to restructure their team. This is the year that all that money hits the cap. They're going to be hurting. And I think they're going to go through that same. The Rams, too. I mean, the salary cap always plays a big role, but I mean, when you wrap up a quarterback for $45 million a year, you're putting 1/5 of your entire team's salary in one player. I don't know how you build around that.
And the other problem the teams are going to run into this offseason is what I believe last year when the salary cap went down is players settling for 1-year deals for a cheaper price so they can go this offseason, and they was assumed at that point an inflated cap, which we do have now, and get bigger deals like Juju did it, went back to the Steelers. I think that's some of the reason why what's his name, Allen Robinson, played on the franchise tag. So you're going to have some players that took 1-year deals last year, or other players looking for more money this year, and the teams that have a lot of money, like the Jets and the Jaguars and teams like that, they'll be bidding for high end players, and a lot of these higher up teams, like you said, that pay these quarterbacks crazy money and they have these pass rushers, they're not going to be able to afford to do that.
I think I should have a rule that we don't talk about my Jaguars. We're not ready for that.
I don't mind it.
I really like I like Lawrence coming up. I think the biggest name that they have to try to get Cincinnati is Armstead. Obviously, Saints can't sign him. They can afford to, huh? Yeah, he's a free agent
this year.
Yeah, it's around Armstead as a free agent this year.
He's on a voidable contract, and they don't have money.
Yep,
He's a beast too.
He's out. So I think they try to go for him. They could also try for, like you said earlier, what's his name? Orlando Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, free agents as well. Whether they get signed or not. I think those are the biggest needs. If they get Armstead, that'll be a huge increase. Huge.
Now let me ask you this: if they say they get like a Orlando Brown at left tackle and they get whatever else they need, at least serviceable players, what do you think the chances are that they make it back within the next 2 years or before they have to pay Joe Burrow big money?
I think the chances are pretty good.
Think so?
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they're phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're pretty much like the next hottest offense with next to the Chiefs and Rams, in my opinion. I think it's a very good possibility within the next 2 to 4 years. You see another 2 appearances through them. 4 years, obviously, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 more, and then within the next 2 years, I could see them coming back again. Whether they win it or not, it depends. They couldn't really play much better than they did on Sunday, and they just got outbeat. It wasn't their day. I mean, Jim Kelly's never won a Super Bowl.
It was a bad matchup for them from the jump. We all knew it.
Yeah.
We all knew it was a bad matchup for that offensive line against the best defensive line in the league. We knew it.
And I hate when people put that Super Bowl persona onto a player, and because I had a conversation with someone earlier today where they said Super Bowl relates to Hall of Fame. I said Marino and Jim Kelly have never won, and yet Marino's one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and he's never won. He's only been to 1 Super Bowl. Jim Kelly's been to 4? And he's never won.
Marino's best receiver was Irving Fryer, and that man threw touchdowns all day.
Yeah, he was a beast. Dan Marino was a beast, and he never won a Super Bowl. So I hate that Super Bowl stigma with Hall of Famers, and it has to be winning a Super Bowl to be a great quarterback.
There's also really, really bad quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, like my Ravens, Elvis Gerback. I mean, Joe Flacco wasn't horrendous, but he's not a Hall of Famer, and he won a Super Bowl. So
Nick Foles won. Eli Manning.
Yep.
Manning could be.
Eli Manning probably is, but yeah, I mean, I get where you're going.
Yeah. So I do think.
I wanted to get back to the Bengals thing. I do think they can make another run within that period.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I know they're in our division, so they have to worry about the Ravens getting healthy next year because we had such a horrendous year with injuries. The Steelers, you don't really have to worry about them because there's no quarterback in sight for them. No. And I think Baker Mayfield's confidence is so shook right now. The Browns are in
so
shambles.
Trash.
I agree. I don't think you really have to worry about them, but I mean, obviously, outside of our AFC North, you have the Chiefs and the Bills of the world, and they have to maybe the Broncos, depending on if Aaron Rodgers goes there, whoever the Dolphins maybe get somebody. So many things have to fall your way to make a run like the Bengals did throughout the season, and obviously into the postseason, not getting a first round bye and playing 4 playoff games, winning 3, obviously. I'm not going to say it's impossible they go back to the Super Bowl, but I think I maybe see an AFC championship, but I don't see them getting back right before they have to pay Joe Burrow. Now I'm not going to say he'll never get there in his whole career.
So I mean, this is how I see it. Of the 4 teams that were there and could have made the Super Bowl, the title game, the Chiefs, like we said, payroll is going to be an issue. Patrick Mahomes is still there, so you've always got a chance. But eventually, those receivers are going to go where the money is. That offensive line is going to go where the money is. So you got the Rams, also payroll issues. Matthew Stafford is going to be eligible for a new contract after, I believe, next year.
And he's old.
A little old.
Yeah. He's getting there. The 49ers, they're a very good young core, and they could press that issue, but it's not like they were dominant all season and just they were expected. They were kind of a Cinderella story. Then you got the Bengals, who do not have payroll issues, actually still have their draft picks and have room to grow and improve with a young core. I would say if there's a team to repeat as conference champ, they have the best chance. So I think they have a good chance of making it back next year. I don't, somebody said this repeatedly, so it's in everybody's mind that the new quarterback duel is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I don't think so. I think it's going to be Josh Allen, possibly, but Joe Burrow and somebody. I think he's heard that.
Yeah, Herbert is the next big name right there.
I like Justin Herbert. I think he gets a little. He obviously gets the credit, but I think he gets a little overshadowed because he was in the same class as Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And right now, obviously, Joe Burrow won up them going to the Super Bowl, but I do believe he's also in a better franchise and position to do so. So
yeah. Now on the flip side for the NFC, you got one of the best teams in the NFC for years with the Packers. They're going downhill fast, so they're losing the big threat in the NFC with them. Mm-hmm. And no one's really taking their place,
and
from what I can see. And the Bucks with no Brady anymore. He's done.
Even if they get a Russell Wilson, or you guys have seen this stuff about Kyler, they're not Tom Brady.
No, I don't like Kyler at all. I don't think he's a top quarterback, like top tier. He's definitely second tier, but he's too undersized and he's too reliant on a Hall of Fame or like a super really talented wide receiver for me to want to get involved with him.
And we've seen that when DeAndre Hopkins went down. He struggled pretty bad.
Died. And like one of my buddies, he's a huge Cardinals fan. He's like, "Oh, Kyler's the best. Kyler's the best." Like, no, he's not. You're biased.
You gotta stick with your guys, man. You gotta defend your guys.
I'm a realist. Like, come on.
So we can pretty much wrap up NFL stuff.
Yeah.
That's,
unfortunately,
it's over.
The best sport in the world, in my opinion, and we're 7 months away from another meaningful game.
You got the USFL coming up. I don't know how that's
going to start.
Huh?
When does that start?
April.
Is it April? Hopefully it sticks around.
We have free agency starting next month, and then we have the draft in April as well.
Yeah.
Early May, whenever it may be this year. But
I can't wait to touch on the draft. Later shows.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked. Speaking of the USFL, did you know that all of their games are played in Birmingham this year?
Really?
They have teams across the country. All the games in the same place. They're all in Birmingham. I thought that was odd.
How many teams is it? Do you have a list of the teams? Does anybody have one handy?
I think there's 12.
12?
It was not much.
I honestly don't know that much about it. I didn't really dig deep into it yet. So
it says 22. That's not right.
Oh.
It might be 22, but it has Birmingham listed twice. I can't. Yeah, I'm not sure how many.
8.
Huh?
8.
8. That's it. Yeah, it's not much.
What are the teams? Like what cities get teams?
I know New Orleans, and there's the Pittsburgh Maulers, Birmingham Stallions, the Tampa Bay Bandits, Michigan Panthers. I don't see the other 4, but like I said, I know New Orleans has one. I believe Atlanta has one, but let me look.
So you got the Panthers, which are Michigan, Birmingham, New Jersey Generals, Houston Gamblers, Philadelphia Stars, New Orleans Breakers, Pittsburgh Maulers, Tampa Bay Bandits. Those are 8 of them. That was off Twitter.
I think their draft is coming up soon too.
I guess any chance these guys get that the guys that didn't get a break to make it into the NFL can play in these leagues and stuff, it's positive. It's a good thing. So I'll check it out.
Yeah, I'll be watching it because it's football.
Right. I agree.
You gotta watch anything football at this point. College is over too, so
I would say it's a possible developmental league for the NFL in the future. We've always needed some. I mean, you have semi-pro across the country, but nobody
Yeah.
pays attention to semi-pro. So now you have an intermediate because these guys that don't make the draft, they have a place to go after that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like the XFL. That was
Yeah.
what the XFL was supposed to be. It didn't quite work out that way. The NFL's G League, if you will, but hopefully it works better this time. I know they've got Jeff Fisher and what was the other big name coach? I've already forgot his name.
Jeff Fisher, just seen it too.
It's gonna bug me. Jeff Fisher and
Not Brian Woods, no.
hang on, I'll Google it.
Larry Fedora.
Fedora, yeah.
Larry Fedora.
Those guys,
Yeah.
they're gonna attract some attention.
I would assume Jeff Fisher should win. I mean,
He was an NFL coach for years.
he had he was always 500, but he had some success in the NFL.
He took the
Yeah.
Titans to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Titans.
So
Titans.
Titans aren't that great. Do we want to discuss the big NBA trade?
Yeah.
It's my worst subject, but I'll give it my shot.
It's basically only one trade I have seen in the Ben Simmons trade.
What do you
was-
think about it? It was a couple big trades, but what do you think about the Ben Simmons trade?
At first, I hated it because I don't like James Harden. But then after actually sitting down and stop being so hurt about it, I realized that Curry isn't a starter. He's a sixth man, in my opinion. He's not going to get you 28 points a game. He's not going to get you what you need that Harden's going to get you. Harden's the MVP, and he's a top 5 player in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So we gave away Andre Drummond, Steph Curry, 2 firsts to get Harden.
And Ben Simmons, obviously.
And Ben Simmons, yeah. And I don't count him as a person anymore. What's that?
Harden is hurt right now. He's not even playing.
Yeah. They said they're going to sit him until the All-Star break. They're going to keep him out.
So I do think, in my opinion, this is a rare instance where I feel like both teams kind of made out. I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't a horrible trade for either team. Obviously, the James Harden with the Nets was a bad situation for whatever reason. He couldn't get along with Kyrie Irving.
Durant.
I don't know how you can't get along with Durant. He can play with anybody, but
it
happened.
He has.
Ben Simmons looks like he's refreshed. He looks like he's happy to be there. The Sixers didn't have to give up Maxey or what's his name, Thibault. They didn't have to give up either.
They didn't give up either one.
They didn't have to give up either one of them. They gave up 2 firsts. They gave up Ben Simmons, obviously. They gave up Drummond. So, I mean, Curry had he had 23 his first game with Brooklyn.
Yeah, he's solid.
He's a solid player, which I see why they didn't want to give him up, but I would rather give him up over giving up Maxey or Thibault easily.
Yeah. And James Harden is what, 30? He's 32, I think Harden is.
Yeah, but he still has some years.
I think with him, and as well as if Embiid stays healthy, they have a very good chance. And I mentioned something about the first round picks, and someone was like, remember, it's Brooklyn. They don't know how to draft.
Yeah.
So you're not really wasting your first round picks there.
And there's not a high chance that the picks are going to be – I mean, they're going to be low-level lottery picks.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at it, Ben Simmons and what's his name were both first overall picks, and how that turned out for the Sixers.
Yep.
Supposed to be franchise players who one doesn't even start anymore, and the other one just got traded after 2 years of not playing.
I'll say this.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Tyler Butler, who's the editor for Sports and Culture Media, my boss, he gets a lot of information about these situations. And what he was telling us was that as far as the Brooklyn situation, so James Harden, when he was in Houston, his biggest problem wasn't that they weren't letting him play basketball his way. It's that he didn't have somebody to pick up the slack. You know, they would give Harden the ball and let him shoot anytime he wants. He gets to a system like Brooklyn where Kevin Durant is that guy. Kevin Durant's going to take the shot first. That doesn't sit well with James Harden. He wants to rush the basket. He wants to get the last shot. So I think the egos clashed too much. And I think that's what happened with Harden there, was that he wasn't being respected as the true number one, which he's not. Durant's probably the number 2 player in the world right now.
Yeah.
And
number 1.
So maybe
might be the best.
Right.
So,
Durant is a monster.
You don't take his shot. I mean, you help him.
You shouldn't.
When Kobe Bryant says that's the one person he would not want to guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty high praise right there, in my opinion.
I mean, when James Harden, he's a great player, but what is wrong with, like, when didn't he have a problem with Chris Paul?
He's had a problem with everybody.
He had a problem with Russ. He had a problem with Chris Paul.
He has a problem with
Kyrie
anyone
Irving.
who could take over, because he wants the team to revolve around him.
Right.
Like
But
LeBron James. He wants to be LeBron James. But he is not LeBron James.
It's not going to revolve around him on the Sixers either. Embiid's probably a top 3 player right now, and he's the best center in the league, and he's scoring 30 a game. So it's not going to revolve around him again now.
No, it's not. Embiid's better overall than he is. Embiid is definitely an overall better player than Harden. He just needs to stay healthy.
So what do you guys think of the C.J. McCollum trade? I have a really long answer. I'll try and keep it short. I'll let you guys go first.
Can you refresh the trade real quick? I remember who it was, but I'm blanking on the other player that was involved.
C.J. McCollum went from Portland to New Orleans, and New Orleans sent back 4 players. I think there was a couple draft picks involved too, but basically it seems like the Trailblazers are kind of gutting their roster, if you will. Because 2 of the contracts they picked up are done after this year anyway.
Yeah, they had Josh Hart, Satoransky, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Didi Louzada, as well as a protected first-round pick and 2 second-round picks. The first-round pick is number 5 to 14.
So what didn't make sense is why did they trade? Why did the Pelicans trade for him when they're not a win now team? Like, I feel like he's a player that should go to a team like the Lakers, or a team that is like a player away from being able to win now, should be trading for him, and not the Pelicans. Especially giving up Josh Hart's a solid player, and Nikhil Walker he's pretty good. So the Pelicans doing that didn't make a ton of sense, but I'm sure it had something to do with the contracts and the salary cap. I'm not very good with NBA salary cap, so I'm sure it had something to do with that. But outside of that, the way McCollum plays, I kind of feel bad for him going to that team, because
I mean, if Zion can continue, if he can get his act together and stay healthy, they have a shot. I mean, they tried to get John Morant, but good luck.
Right.
John Morant's an absolute monster with the ball.
They have Ingram, right? The Pelicans?
Yeah.
I mean, he's solid.
They got a solid team. Is it a championship team? No.
No.
Because, Lakers weren't even championship, and they're way better. So
here's kind of where I see what Portland did. So they traded McCollum. First off, McCollum's never been a playoff player. Every time I've seen Portland in the postseason, he takes and misses, or he just tosses it to Dame. So you're not really losing anything postseason, because when Damian Lillard does get back, he can by himself get that team to the postseason.
Oh, absolutely.
So you need players around him that can be postseason players. So you trade a player that doesn't help you in the postseason, bring back 2 guys that might help you, and 2 expiring contracts. Yeah. What they're doing is setting themselves up to make a max run deal. Harden's going to be a free agent after this year. He can void his contract. I think they go after James Harden, sign him. Then they might package a few guys together. But once you get one piece of that puzzle, the other people want to come in. It's the same thing with Brooklyn. Nobody wanted to go to Brooklyn for anything. And then Kevin Durant shows up, and not everybody wanted to go to Brooklyn. It's the same thing here. This will attract Portland as a wanted destination. And I feel like they just didn't see a way to make it any different anytime soon than gut the roster, try and sign somebody big, or get rid of Damian Lillard, give him a chance to win somewhere and do the right thing with him.
I think they already came out and said that their plan was like you said the first time is to build around Damian Lillard and go and get some guys in free agency that'll really help him. And I guess since CJ McCollum didn't perform in the playoffs, they don't think that he's the answer next to Damian Lillard when it gets to the postseason time. I do think the Pelicans lost that trade. I think the Trailblazers won that trade.
I think for what they want to do with those players, they definitely won.
Yeah, the Pelicans, they're I don't know what they're trying to do.
I live right down the street, and I haven't been to a game yet, so I probably won't start either.
There was another. Porzingis. Do we have?
Porzingis trade.
Where did he go?
The Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and was Davis Bertans, I believe. Yeah, that's right.
And that's a guy that has so much talent and never does anything with it.
Yep.
You see. I don't think Luka liked Porzingis. I don't think he wanted to play with him at all. So you see how much Luka's word means there, as it should.
Yeah, Luka's a top player in the NBA.
Yeah,
he's a monster.
So I mean that was I guess both teams kind of win that trade. I mean the Wizards get a decent player. I think Dinwiddie's been in trade talks for a while. Bertans signed a huge contract and hasn't performed really at all. And then he came out and said that the Wizards locker room is all arguing and it's a toxic locker room. So
didn't Dinwiddie just put up a career high points?
Really?
I think he did last night or today. I haven't followed much in the NBA recently. But I thought I saw something about he just put up a career high 28 points.
To be honest, this is when I start following the NBA a lot more. Is when
football's over.
Yeah.
Same here.
I thought, like I said, I'm not a Suns fan, but I like Chris Paul. I've always liked Chris Paul since Wake Forest, so I support Chris Paul. I'm not going to call myself a bandwagon Suns fan, but I watch those games when they're on, and they're on a lot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it wasn't Dinwiddie. It was someone else. I don't know who it was. I saw something. I thought it was him. I was wrong. Yeah, this is where I'm going to start getting more into the basketball.
Yeah.
Seeing now that football's over and we have to wait until April to the USFL. Because I think after, come end of March, the NFL talks and come back up big time. Obviously, because draft will be right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And draft week is going to be insane for people to for all fantasy drafts. Personally, I don't do my rookie draft until September. Personally, for me, but some people draft the night after.
For your fantasy league?
Yeah. For
what is it, a dynasty?
Yeah. I don't do redraft anymore. It wasn't worth my time to put all the effort into.
Yeah. I'm in 6 leagues, so I know how it is, man.
I'm just in one right now.
How do you have time for that?
I can't say no.
The problem,
you just
the
did.
reason why I'm only in one right now is because the team that I'm in, I have absolutely stacked team thanks to trades. I got Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I had Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. I traded Hurts for Lawrence and the 3rd overall pick because I do think Trevor Lawrence is going to be really good. Because no, don't make that face.
Get him.
Urban Meyer was there. Urban Meyer was trash.
He is trash.
Etienne he got a very, very bad injury second day on the field. DJ Chark is still not a wide receiver 1. Chenault has not come through. So Jacksonville, I think, should go for Allen Robinson or Mike Williams or possibly Adams.
They should go for everything they can. That team has.
Oh yeah.
They have a lot of holes on that team, but they do have some nice young players. So
yeah, James Robinson and Etienne should be good. I think Etienne could move out to wide receiver because he did line up a lot as wide receiver when Meyer was there.
I think he stays the hybrid. I hope he does. He's a great running back too.
He is.
I'm a big time Jags fan. Unfortunately, I'm from Jacksonville. I've already mapped out their draft, and I hope that I'm right, that they will just go with best overall player or trade down. Because like I said, they have so many holes. If they traded back to 3 or 4, The problem is there's not a quarterback in this draft worth trading up for.
No.
There's really only
not.
one player that just sticks out as being a real number one, is Thibodeau from Oregon.
Yep.
And Jacksonville could take him, and I'd be very happy with him. But if we traded back to 3 or 4 and got Aiden Hutchinson and stocked up on picks, I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville needs a better O-line.
Yeah.
They need everything.
Their
really.
defense is also trash. Like
Yeah.
their defense needs a lot of work. I mean, they're a young team though. Like Chark is not their wide receiver one. He rookie season was
Who's
good,
guinea
but
pig?
they're mine.
I can hear him.
They're going crazy because my wife, I guess she took
That's
a
funny.
peeler out. Yeah, they know the sound of an apple peeler, so they
Oh,
go crazy.
that's funny.
But
Very
I think Jacksonville will seriously. They need to go after a wide receiver. They need a wide receiver one. They don't have one. They barely have a wide receiver two.
You don't even have a
Needs
tight
to
end.
come out.
Do they have a good tight end? I don't think they have a good tight end.
They have nothing aside from running back and quarterback.
They have nobody that Trevor Lawrence can go to in a situation where he feels safe throwing them the ball.
Marvin Jones was very solid this year for him.
But he's
But
old.
that's
and
Marvin Jones.
He's probably a number 3 or 4 receiver on every other team in the league.
Yeah, it's like they don't have a wide receiver one. That's why I could see Etienne going out as a wide receiver for now, and also playing like a Deebo Samuel type of routes, where he'll line up a lot as wide receiver, but also come in as the back. Because he's what is he? Is he 5'11" or 5'10", and he's like 220 or 230? He's not a small guy.
Yeah.
That's like the same people who say that Trevor Lawrence is not like he was a bust are the same people who think Jalen Hurts is absolute trash.
Right.
And they
Yeah,
need to understand like Jalen Hurts. I'm an Eagles and a Broncos fan, which sounds weird, but I was a Broncos fan for a while, and I don't know when I started liking the Eagles, but I mostly just follow the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts is 23 years old. He should still be in college, honestly. He's only had one season as a starter. And who was his best wide receiver? Devontae Smith was the best wide receiver on the team, but he was not the best on the team stat-wise
Right.
because they just didn't throw it to him for some reason. Those are the people who are quick to judge people and not see the whole picture. Like I think Trevor Lawrence is a very talented quarterback, and he is my second-rated quarterback last year, with Trey Lance as my top overall rated quarterback. But we see how Trey Lance played.
He hasn't had a fair chance either, though.
Yeah,
Neither one of those
when he
guys has had
did,
a
it was
fair shot
solid.
at it yet. You need to get consistent reps. You need to get familiarity with your wide receivers and your tight ends and all that stuff. And Urban Meyer was garbage. And like you said, the Jags just in general were just not good. But Trevor Lawrence did show some okay flashes from what I watched. I mean, you would know better than me, but I've seen him show a couple good, decent flashes. He had some agility. He had a couple real nice throws.
Yeah, he's definitely talented. He's got talent.
Doug
He's
Peterson.
definitely got talent.
So I'm gonna say Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson can help him.
Yeah.
He was a quarterback in the NFL. He helped Carson Wentz go to the Super Bowl. Let's be honest, because Carson Wentz, they're not going to the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz that year.
Right.
He was MVP status that year. Absolute monster for 13 games.
And then he won it with Nick Foles, right?
Yeah, they won with Nick Foles, the best backup in the league.
So you've seen what Doug Peterson has done with probably less than average quarterbacks. So
yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence with Doug Peterson is gonna be a very good combination.
Nice, that was a really nice hire, honestly.
It was one of the best head coach hirings.
I was kind of praying for Kellen Moore just because of his quarterback background, but I'm really happy with Doug Peterson hire. I think that's even better than what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
How about the Vikings hiring the Rams offensive coordinator?
Yeah, that was like out of left field, wasn't it? I didn't even hear.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me Justin Jefferson just got better? How can that be? What do you make it? So I'm excited to see where Trevor Lawrence goes in his future with Doug Peterson.
You know, I feel bad for you guys because you go the NFL season and then you resort to basketball. My season starts Sunday with NASCAR.
Yep.
My year doesn't stop. I go Super Bowl, the very next Sunday NASCAR, and it doesn't stop until college and NFL's back.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I watch a NASCAR as well. I'm not as big on it as you may be because the rule change has gotten me a little weird last year. It's a weird rule change. You can win the race, but you might not win the race
Right.
Well,
due
what's
to the
that rule?
sections.
I'm not familiar. Just explain it
So
to me.
now, like they segmented the NASCAR races into segments to where, like, if you're leading for a certain amount of laps, even if you finish behind, like not in first, you could still win the race. It depends on where you were leading in those segments. It's weird. I forget who won last year. Was it who won last year?
Kyle Larson won the championship last year.
Larson. And Logano was second or third or something like that.
Basically, they set it up to winner. I mean, it's a winner-take-all scenario to get the championship, but
Yeah.
you have to win to get in the playoffs. I mean, there's very few, like 3 or less drivers every year make the playoffs without a win. They just kind of put the emphasis on winning, and it's made racing weird. You'll have some really good races, but towards the end of the year is when you get those. I mean, going to the playoffs, like the first 20 races can be kind of boring because there's no real rush. You'll get a guy that wins early, and then he does nothing for 20 weeks until the playoffs.
That makes sense.
Doesn't have to. He's locked in.
He's
So.
there, which is weird.
Why? I want to ask you both this. Why do you think NASCAR never really holds viewers? Like, what would you do differently that you could make NASCAR better and make it more appealing for the younger crowd and just
The problem
people in general?
The problem with NASCAR for me is it's not necessarily. It's like baseball for me. I don't necessarily want to sit there and watch 2 hours of NASCAR on TV. I'd rather be there. So to me, NASCAR can't. This is just me. NASCAR, there's nothing more they can do to attract viewers. You have to go there, and it's just such a different scene.
So you think?
Go ahead.
You think just the sport in general, just like the idea of the cars racing and stuff, you just don't think that it would ever be able to like appeal to other people. And there's nothing they can really do about it necessarily. Same with baseball. I mean, you're not changing the way baseball is played too much.
No. It's kind of like if you wanted to watch, like, if you wanted to improve NASCAR, watch Formula One. It's essentially a step up when it comes to like enjoyment, I guess. Neither one of them are something that I necessarily sit down. I'd rather be there, but I do on occasional Sundays watch NASCAR because I have to see how Truex is doing.
I think I can pretty much sum up that answer without even saying much about racing in general. So NASCAR has always had an age group from child all the way to old man, but NASCAR started listening to what the fans want. And when you do that, I mean, you're talking about, you're listening to basically a group of fans. You're not listening to everybody. And when you do that, you're cutting some people out. People started screaming for stage racing because before we went to stage racing, we got to where we had so many races where there might be one caution or no cautions. And it was literally, 400 or 500 miles of nothing. No lead changes. The same guy would lead the entire race. And so they implemented stage racing. We lost fans. This year is a good example. The Clash was at the LA Coliseum. First time away from Daytona. And, you mixed in hip hop music because you've got Pitbull's a car owner now. Floyd Mayweather's a car owner now. Michael Jordan's a car owner now. You've got these influential people. And that's great for the younger fans. The guys that have been watching NASCAR since like the 60s,
they don't care.
70s, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
The wreck that's supposed to happen, the 2 guys that are supposed to fight on pit road, and then somebody wins. That's all they want to see. So when you take that away, my dad is who got me into NASCAR, and I cover NASCAR for Sports and Culture Media. NASCAR is my thing. But the races are boring at times. You see these races like the Daytona 500 is Sunday, and it's anticipated because it's the first race of the year and it's the Great American Race. But what is it about that race that makes it so great? Well, not much anymore. Just that it's the first race of the year. The magic that was the Daytona 500 isn't the same because stage racing's taking it away.
Yeah, so yeah, because I when I was a kid, like I remember Chris and I had spoken. I told him that my dad used to work for Jimmy Johnson. Like he moved there and he worked there. So even before that, like when Jeff Gordon was racing and Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy Johnson and all of them, I feel like obviously wasn't big as football, but it was bigger than it is now.
Right.
So I was just wondering what the drop off was, but I see what you're explaining now. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, Alvin Kamara is our NASCAR liaison of new fan base or whatever. He has some weird title where he's supposed to be like NASCAR's advisor to bring in fans, and I don't know if that's going to
We'll see
split
how
into
that
this.
Him, of all people.
Yeah. Huh?
Even
We'll see
before
how that
this,
pans out
he
for
just
him.
doesn't. He just. I don't know. I've heard him like in interviews and stuff. He just doesn't seem like he would be the type of person that would be able to do something like that.
He's popular and everybody knows him. So NASCAR's like, let's bring in this guy. He's a minority. He knows everybody. It's good for NASCAR. Not necessarily.
Should have used Floyd Mayweather or something before Alvin Kamara.
Well, they have Mayweather's
or Jordan.
Or Jordan. But I heard Jordan's kind of a douchebag to deal with sometimes.
Oh, he's an absolute D-bag. My old job, he bought a boat. I used to do work on yachts, and he bought a boat from them, and he was the rudest person they spoke to. Like the salesperson that dealt with him, he didn't want to talk to nobody else. He was only talking to that person. He wanted no one there when he looked at his boat. It was. He's not a nice guy.
I've heard he comes down to Ocean City, Maryland for the boat job. You guys are probably familiar with that.
The yacht, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said the same thing. He's just kind of, I mean, that's how he was as a player, and that's what he was in the show he had. So, I mean, can't be surprised. But it's Michael Jordan. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. Everybody loves Michael Jordan for who he is.
The player, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, the player, Michael Jordan. The owner is
another person, Michael Jordan.
Not very good.
The player, yes, the player. Yeah, I don't like Michael Jordan as a person. Love him as a player.
Oh man, I have to meet him first before I do any of that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Just from my previous job, I can't like him.
Makes sense. Do any of you guys watch wrestling?
No.
No, I haven't watched wrestling in a while. Ever since all my favorite wrestlers are gone.
That's another thing I sometimes watch in the off season. So I was just wondering. I watch AEW now because they're much better than WWE. But even then, I fell off of that as well.
I watch UFC occasionally, UFC, and every now and then I'll watch boxing.
Did you watch the UFC fight that was just on? Izzy?
Adesanya?
Yeah, that's my guy.
I love Adesanya.
Yeah,
I love him.
Derek Lewis and Tua guy that drinks out of the boot fought. That was a good fight too. So
yeah, he asked for Rogan's boot.
Yeah,
he's like, yeah, I'm not giving you my boot.
That's another thing I picked up on. I honestly just started watching it heavy like over the last 2 years. So
yeah,
that's another thing I watch. I like boxing too, but I like UFC much better for some reason. It just appeals to me more.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things with me. It's like when I started watching UFC, I was back in high school, 2009, like 2008, 2009, and all my fighters are gone from there. Just like
Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell, and everybody like that.
Forrest Griffin was amazing. They're all gone. They've been gone. Just like wrestling. Goldberg's not there. Austin's not there. The Rock's gone. I lost interest after a while, so I watch it from here.
I can't watch that and The Real Housewives. They're both fake. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree.
It was good when I didn't think it was fake though. Like when I was a kid, I really watched. I mean, I had a friend that his mom babysat me for a little while, so he would have all of the action figures, every single person, even like the new people. And we would get on the floor on a square piece of whatever that was a ring and beat the crap out of each other with figurines.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing to do. But now it's like two sweaty dudes with underwear. I'm not in.
I had a couple of friends that trained in like NXT down in Florida actually. So That's why
cool.
I started to watch a little bit. But even like I watched the Royal Rumble. Other than that, I'm not tuned in like avidly watching it.
Yeah. So, for your for fantasy football, what do you guys usually? What's your platform?
What app?
Yeah, you don't do fantasy, Chris?
For the Dynasty, we use Sleeper.
Okay.
And other than that, like all my other ones, I like
Yahoo.
Yahoo. I don't like ESPN or NFL. They're
Redraft
both
for Yahoo.
Huh?
Redraft? Do you use Yahoo and stuff like that?
Yeah, I use Yahoo for almost everything I can if I can't use Sleeper.
Gotcha.
I really like Sleeper for dynasties though, because when you trade picks, you can actually like on Yahoo you have to like go through and manually change it, but on
Yahoo
Sleeper,
does it automatically.
it actually holds the picks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my first year was absolute hell because I didn't know. Like, I was writing down in my notes who traded what pick to who, and it got confusing. And when I went to go set my draft board, I'm like, oh, I could have just done this myself.
Yeah.
For
Dynasty, you should honestly use Sleeper, and it's free also.
Yeah. All right.
I've done drafts before. I just don't have time. I mean, like I said, between like I have a full-time 9-to-5 self-employed business that we do, covering NASCAR and Georgia Bulldogs football for Sports and Culture.
Mm-hmm.
I have my Monday show, Loose Lugs, here on the ASAP network. I'm busy. I don't know if I can handle a fantasy league where I got to worry about who's playing who on Sunday. I'm like, all right, yeah, I got that. But I don't know, man. It's something I feel like I could get into, and it seems like it's fun. But
it is fun.
I don't like losing.
I get it.
Probably gonna lose a lot. So.
But yeah,
time gets away. Like last year, I was writing a lot for companies, and I got screwed over a lot, and my articles were being posted under other people's names, and I was podcast. Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna throw names out there, but my articles were being posted on a website from someone else with someone else's tag on it, and I was very busy for like 3-4 months writing, and then I just stopped. So I that just killed my vibe.
After the show, stick around. I got a story for you about articles. I got a good one for you. Yeah, I think we covered a lot of stuff tonight. Yep. You guys are professionals. I will get there. We'll all be professionals soon.
Yeah.
You guys got anything else before we call tonight?
No.
Nope.
We should be back next Tuesday, same time.
Yep. Next week's a whole different story.
So catch us out. Catch us on, I mean, they've got Facebook and YouTube. That's the normal places, but Tiki Live TV, Roku channel, Fox D Network. You can see ASAP shows on almost every platform now. Freddie Henderson's really pushing to get everything he can get, and he's doing a great job. We appreciate it. But that's it, man. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, boys.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.